He was the heart of Heartland. Borden's story made millions fall in love with the show. But now, it's official. Ty is not coming back in season 19. No more rumors. No more hopes. The chapter has closed, and fans are left to face the truth. So, what does this really mean for the future of Heartland? Ty Borden was never just a character. From the moment he stepped onto Heartland Ranch, he became a symbol of second chances, healing, and strength. Viewers watched him grow from a troubled teen into a loving husband, father, and vet. His relationship with Amy touched hearts across the world, and for many fans, their love story was the core of the show. But season 14 changed everything. Ty's sudden death due to complications from a gunshot wound shattered that world. 4 years after, fans held on to a sliver of hope. They wondered, he come back in a dream? In flashbacks? Was there a chance his death was just a plot twist? But now, as Heartland season 19 gears up for release, that hope has been put to rest. The showrunners and cast have confirmed, Ty will not return. His story is complete. Wardle, the actor behind Ty, made a personal choice to step away from acting and follow a different path. He said his goodbye not just to the show, but to that part of his life. And Heartland chose to honor that choice with respect. This decision was not easy for the writers or the cast. Ty's loss left a huge gap in the story, and filling that space has been a slow, emotional process. The show has carefully built a new direction, focusing on grief, healing, and growth. Amy's journey through the pain, her slow return to joy, and her role as a single mother have been deeply meaningful, but none of it takes away from the fact that the man she loved is gone, and won't be coming back. Even with season 19 bringing in new arcs and fresh energy, Ty's absence will be felt. His memory is woven into every corner of the ranch, every horse Amy touches, every glance she shares with Lyndy, and though he's not on screen, his presence still shapes the story. But this season marks a shift. The era of waiting is over. The writers are finally ready to let the audience move on with Amy, with Lyndy, with the future. Season 19 is not about waiting anymore. It's about accepting, letting go, and finding out what comes next when the person you love is no longer by your side. The story doesn't end. It just changes. And that's the journey we're about to watch unfold. Amy wakes up every day to the same view fields, fences, and familiar mountains, but something's missing. Her world still looks the same, but without Ty, it feels completely different. Season 19 shows us this unspoken truth. She's not crying every day anymore. She's not drowning in grief like before. But deep inside, something is still broken, and that quiet pain is what makes her journey in this season so powerful. Amy has always been strong, not because she hides her pain, but because she walks through it. She didn't run from the memories of Ty, she stayed. She kept working with horses. She kept raising Lyndy. She kept showing up, even when it hurt. But in season 19, there's a shift. It's not just about surviving anymore, it's about finally living again. And this time, she's doing it for herself and her daughter. The audience can feel the emotional weight she still carries. When she watches Lyndy ride, there's pride in her eyes but also sadness. Ty should be there to see it. When the family gathers at the dinner table, there's laughter but Amy still glances at the empty chair. Heartland doesn't force these moments, it lets them breathe. And in doing so, it gives viewers a raw and honest picture of life after loss. Amy is still deeply connected to Ty, but she's learning that loving someone doesn't mean staying frozen in the past. Season 19 might be the season where Amy opens her heart again, not necessarily to romance but to possibility. Maybe she lets someone new ride beside her during a trail. Maybe she laughs in a way she hasn't in years. Maybe she tells Lyndy more stories about her father, not just the strong parts, but the silly ones too. And in all these little ways, Amy begins to reclaim pieces of herself that grief had hidden away. There's no dramatic makeover, no sudden changes. But there's a quiet courage in Amy's choices. She's learning to be a mother who smiles more, a trainer who dares to take risks again, a woman who doesn't need to hold on so tightly to the past to honor it. And that's where her strength truly lies. Ty may be gone, but Amy is still here. And in season 19, we begin to see the woman she's becoming, not just Ty's wife or Lyndy's mother, but Amy Fleming, whole and healing in her own time. He arrived quietly, without trying to take up space. But now, Nathan is no longer in the background, he's stepping into the story in a bigger way. Season 19 doesn't just keep Nathan around. It makes one thing clear: He's here to stay. And that changes everything. At first, Nathan felt like a visitor. A helpful face. A reminder that the ranch still needed good hands even after Ty was gone. But as season 18 closed, something shifted. The camera stayed on him a little longer. His bond with the animals deepened. And most importantly, his quiet respect for Amy made him stand out. He never tried to replace Ty. He never acted like he could. Instead, he offered steady support, silence when it was needed, and strength when things got hard. That's why fans started noticing him not as a threat, but as someone worth watching. Now in season 19, Nathan's presence is different. He's not just helping with horses, he's becoming part of the heart of the ranch. Scenes with Lyndy, moments shared with Jack or Tim, and even brief interactions with Amy now hold more meaning. He's not forcing anything, but he's present, and sometimes, just being there without pushing is what builds trust. There are whispers, already questions, flying among fans. Is Nathan meant to be a new love interest? Or just a strong figure the family can rely on? The show hasn't given clear answers yet, but it's dropped clues. A moment where Amy smiles at him just a bit too long. A pause when he looks back, unsure whether to speak or walk away. It's subtle, it's slow, but it's intentional, and maybe that's the point. Heartland isn't rushing to fill Ty's space. It's letting the story grow naturally. Nathan represents something important, not a replacement, but a different kind of support. A future that's not tied to pain, but to possibility. He respects the past while making room for new memories. And in a show built around healing, that's exactly what's needed. Season 19 lets us see Nathan in new ways. We learn more about his past. His connection to horses isn't just skill, it's passion. He's not afraid to get dirty, to work long hours, to show up even when things are messy. That grit makes him familiar to the Fleming Bartlett clan. And slowly, it earns him a place. Whether he becomes family, something more, or something entirely unexpected, Nathan's role is growing. And this time, it feels like he's not just part of someone else's story. He's starting to write his own. The kitchen is still full of voices. The barn still echoes with footsteps. From the outside, Heartland Ranch looks the same. But something deeper has shifted. Without Ty, the family isn't broken, it's just different. And in season 19, we finally see how they begin to redefine what it means to be whole again. Jack has always been the quiet backbone. Through every storm, he's held the family together with firm words and open arms. But Ty's absence took something from him to a grandson he treated like his own son. Jack doesn't say much about the pain. He keeps working, keeps guiding Amy and Lyndy, keeps fixing broken gates and horses. But in his silence, you can feel it, the ache that never left. In season 19, Jack's role grows more emotional. We see him become not just the strong protector but also the gentle storyteller, sharing memories of Ty that help Lyndy understand the father she never really got to know. Then there's Tim. Loud, stubborn, but always trying. Ty's death made Tim reevaluate everything: his own parenting, his priorities, his future. In season 19, we watch him wrestle with guilt, wondering if he could have done more, but we also see growth. Tim starts stepping up for Amy and Lyndy in new ways. Not to fill Ty's shoes, but to make sure those two never walk alone. He's learning, finally, that being a father isn't about control, it's about presence. Lou, too, feels the weight of holding everything together. As mayor, she juggles the pressure of public life with the private pain of watching her family grieve. And yet, Lou doesn't collapse, she adapts. She becomes a bridge between the past and the future. Her relationship with Peter is still complicated, but there's a softness now, a sense that life is too short for resentment. Season 19 gives Lou new strength. She starts asking deeper questions about what kind of woman, sister, and mother she wants to be now that the family's center has shifted. And then there's Lyndy. Sweet, sharp, and growing fast. She's the future of Heartland, and season 19 leans into that truth. Though she barely knew Ty, his spirit lives in her through Amy's stories. Through the way she handles horses, through the calm strength she shows even at a young age. Watching Lyndy learn about her father, surrounded by love but missing one piece, brings both hope and sadness. She asks questions Amy doesn't always know how to answer. But the family tries: Jack with his quiet wisdom, Tim with clumsy humor, Lou with warmth. Every answer they give builds the picture of the man who once walked beside them. This season is not about forgetting Ty. It's about learning how to carry him forward in new ways. Each family member holds a piece of him. Together, they keep his memory alive, not with tears, but with action, with growth, and with love that refuses to fade. Heartland doesn't erase the past, it weaves it into the future. And season 19 shows us a family that's not just surviving the loss but slowly, beautifully, learning to live again. Asterisk, the ranch may seem peaceful on the outside, but under the calm surface, season 19 brews with tension. Things are changing not just for Amy, but for everyone connected to Heartland. The family is healing, yes, but healing doesn't mean comfort. It means challenge. It means growing pains. And this season, it brings plenty of both. Amy's heart is the center of it all. For seasons, she walked through grief like a fog. Now, as she starts to breathe again, the world around her begins to shift. Nathan is nearby, steady, kind, always respectful. He never pushes, but his presence creates something new. A question, a possibility. And while the show doesn't rush into romance, fans can feel it in the silence between glances. In the way Amy's guard drops just a little when Nathan's around. But love after loss is never easy. Every step forward is haunted by what was lost. And that conflict is what makes Amy's journey in season 19 so powerful. She's not falling in love, she's learning how to even consider it again. Meanwhile, Lou and Peter face their own crossroads. They've been through every kind of trial, breakups, makeups, distance, and pressure. But now, their relationship feels like a mirror. Both of them are forced to ask, are we still the people we promised to be? Season 19 doesn't offer clean answers. Instead, it explores the hard truth of long-term love. Sometimes it grows with you, and sometimes it grows away from you. That tension bubbles beneath their scenes. Will they rebuild their future, or finally admit it's time to move on? Tim, on the other hand, is finally trying to be still. But stillness isn't easy for a man like him. He wants to help, to fix, to be useful, but his methods don't always match what the family needs. A new character from his past may enter, someone who challenges him to rethink the kind of legacy he's leaving. Is Tim ready to face himself? Or will his stubborn pride cost him one more relationship he can't afford to lose? And then there's Lyndy. Small, curious, and surprisingly brave. This season, she begins to grow into a girl who wants answers about her dad, about her family, about her place in the world. Her questions spark tension, especially when they reach into places the adults aren't ready to revisit. But Lyndy's journey may be the most important of all because she's the bridge between memory and future, and the choices made around her will shape the next generation of Heartland. Season 19 isn't about drama that explodes. It's about slow-burning tension. It's about quiet stares, missed chances, and soft conversations that cut deeper than shouting ever could. Every relationship is under pressure. Every bond is tested. And by the end of the season, nothing will be exactly the same. Asterisk, there was always a whisper in the fandom, maybe it's just temporary, maybe he'll surprise us. Even after Borden died on screen, fans held on to hope, like a thread that wouldn't break. But now, as season 19 sets its course without him, the truth becomes clear. Ty isn't coming back. Not in a flashback, not in a twist, not even in a dream. And this isn't just a story decision, it's something much deeper. The man behind Wardle made a choice, a quiet, personal, and difficult choice. After over a decade of playing Ty, Graham walked away, not because of contract disputes, not because of drama, but because he felt it was time. In his own words, he needed to follow his heart and step onto a new path. One that didn't involve cameras, scripts, or the role that made him a household name. This wasn't easy for anyone, especially the writers. Ty wasn't just a character, he was a pillar of the show. Removing him meant changing everything, but the Heartland team didn't take the easy way out. They didn't recast him. They didn't create a fake disappearance or write him off quietly. They gave him a goodbye that matched the man he had become, sudden, tragic, but deeply human. His death hurt because it mattered, because it was real. Behind the scenes, the cast mourned too. Amber Marshall Amy admitted that filming without Graham felt strange, even painful. Their chemistry wasn't just for the screen, they had become close friends over the years. And when Ty's final scenes aired, the tears weren't all acting. Much of that grief was genuine. It was a goodbye for Amy, for the audience, and for the actors themselves. And so, Heartland had to evolve. The show, which once centered around the love story of Ty and Amy, began to shift. It started telling a different kind of story, a story of recovery, rebuilding, and learning to live with loss. That's why season 19 doesn't tease a return. It honors the reality behind the fiction. Graham Wardle is gone. And Ty Borden, as painful as it is, has left with him. For fans, the disappointment still lingers. Some feel the show lost its heart when Ty died. Others respect the journey and how the writers stayed true to life's unpredictability. But everyone agrees on one thing: Ty's impact will never fade. His story still echoes through every episode. In the way Amy rides, in the way Lyndy smiles, in the way the family carries themselves with quiet strength. He's not forgotten. He's part of the foundation. Season 19 doesn't try to fill Ty's place. It simply continues the story in his shadow. And in doing so, it offers something rare in television and truth. A reminder that sometimes, we don't get the return we're hoping for. Sometimes, closure means accepting the silence that follows goodbye. Asterisk, there comes a moment after loss, not when the pain ends, but when the heart begins to beat differently. Not louder, not softer, just stronger. That's exactly where Season 19 places us. Heartland is no longer waiting for Ty's return. It's not circling the past. It's moving forward with quiet strength, deeper meaning, and stories still waiting to be lived. This season isn't just about change. It's about rebirth. For the first time in years, the family isn't just reacting to grief, they're planning a future. Amy is learning to smile with freedom again, not guilt. She's choosing to live, not just for Lyndy, but for herself. And while Ty's memory is always there, it's no longer the weight she drags behind her. It's the wind at her back, pushing her gently ahead. Lyndy's growing story is also stepping into the light. She's no longer just a symbol of what was lost, she's becoming a symbol of what's next. Her curiosity, her courage, her spark, they remind everyone what it means to hope again. Season 19 gives her more space to shine, to ask questions, to ride, to dream. And with every step she takes, she carries a piece of Ty forward. Nathan's path becomes clearer too. He's no longer just the new guy or the background helper. He's earning his space not by force, but by consistency. His bond with Lyndy deepens, his respect for Amy never falters. And while nothing is rushed, fans can sense it. He's here for a reason. Whether it becomes love, friendship, or something entirely new, his presence marks a turning point for Heart. Next chapter. Elsewhere, Lou may finally face the crossroads in her marriage. Tim is rethinking what kind of father and grandfather he wants to be. Jack is slowly sharing more of his wisdom, not because he's fading, but because he knows the torch must be passed. Every character is evolving, and with each new storyline, the show reaffirms what it's always been about: family, love, growth, and finding light in dark places. So what's next for Heartland? Not a replacement, not a reboot, but a revival. A return to the heart of the ranch, not in memory, but in motion. Season 19 is the beginning of a new kind of story. One where the pain of the past is honored, but the future is embraced. Ty's chapter is closed, but the book isn't finished. And if Season 19 teaches us anything, it's that even after goodbye, life still finds a way to bloom. Asterisk.